What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Lake Julian Disc Golf Course for the next Formwork Friday. And today we're talking about down tempoing. It's being able to throw softer, faster discs, softer, and still be able to get the same result. And I have issues with that. I have trouble when actually hitting precise aiming points if I go much far below like 75%. So today we're going to try to fix that. This might be a process. It might be multiple videos, but I need to be able to throw faster discs softer in order to get the shots that we want. And today we're going to be working with a couple of mid-ranges, the Lux Vapor Method and the new Particle Proton Hex. Let's see if I can throw somewhat accurately. Because for me, I get so much of my control and my accuracy from spinning the disc, and it's really hard for me to spin the disc if I throw it softly. It's much easier for me to power up to get spin than to maintain the spin rate but still throw it softer. So we're gonna try that. It's a gusty wind off the right side, so we'll see what happens here. So try to throw mostly flat, but try to bring everything through slower arm, slower wrist, and hopefully I can time it properly to still get good spin and snap while still throwing it softer. That was honestly better than I expected from the first two throws. And still, disc golf is so much about timing. This summer, I've said it before, and I'm going to continue to say it, this summer is probably going to be a lot about timing and release points and spin rate. And how do we achieve those things that we want while still maintaining the accuracy? It's a process. On the last one, I kind of found myself throwing and actually letting go of the disc, and that's not what I want. I want to have the same consistent hold on to it and let it come out of my hand. So I'm gonna have to hold on to it softer. But how soft do I need to hold on to it? So follow through on that plane and just let the swing happen, because the swing's gonna happen, and let the disc work. That was better. That was better. Go a little soft. And I kept the release hand when it comes out. For me, when mid-ranges come out, my hand kind of cramps down like this. So I felt that hand back behind me, which means I held on to it and it came out properly. So I'm actually getting the proper timing down. Now let's see if we can up the spin rate while still maintaining the same arm speed. So right now I'm throwing about 40 to 60%, somewhere in that range. I can throw much harder, and I can also throw a little bit softer, but much softer than what I'm throwing, and it would just be a putt. So this is about the softest I can throw. So far I've been throwing pretty much passive wrist to get the timing down. So now that I'm starting to feel out the timing a little bit better, I'm gonna try on this hole at least to give a little bit of active wrist in there. So as I'm throwing through, my wrist is gonna be doing a little bit of this, which just helps give it a little bit more spin, or at least for the way I throw, it helps up the spin rate a little bit. Did you see how much softer and smoother that flight was? It wasn't quite as line drive as the last couple of throws. I think I did get the spin rate up ever so slightly. Still, so some of the, even some of the MPO pros at the Pro Tour level who can throw over 500 feet will sometimes throw drivers on 250-foot holes, which is totally a touch thing, but also if the pros are doing it at the highest level, there's probably a reason for that. And so that's a skill I'm not super great at, so it's a skill I'm gonna work on. And this is a hole where the last couple of times I filmed here, one drive out of the 2 drives I was throwing came out early and hit this first stuff on the left, which is really, really early. You don't want to be hitting that stuff. You want to be pushing down the fairway. So can I down tempo a faster disc to hit the line and actually give me more what I want? So I'm not going to be throwing these as soft as I can. I'm going to be throwing them how hard I think I need to throw them to get them to the basket. And since I can get there with a putter on this hole, it's not full power either. Well, I just held a little bit straight. Let's see if we can't get up there with the hex. But I do think the power was better. The line was better. It actually came out where I wanted it to come out at. It just held a little straighter than I was expecting, which is fine. I can work with that. I can work off of that. But if I get inconsistent throws every time I try to throw it soft, it's something that it's really hard to work with. Oh, that is a stable hex. Yeah, I need to throw that flat, not on hyzer. But I think I'm getting the power better. And if I go much higher than this, it won't even be down tempoing on the mid-ranges. This is about I'm about 15% off, I guess, of like my normal mid-range power. So it's not much of a down tempo to try to throw them at this hole. But we're gonna go up and throw a downhill 300-foot shot, which realistically speaking, shouldn't be much of an issue for me with these 2 mid-ranges. It's just, can I down tempo fast, or can I down tempo properly to get them to that perfect 300-foot zone? All right, downhill 300-foot shot with these mid-ranges, with the tiny bit of a tailwind that we have. This is going to be probably about 75% of my mid-range power. And this is something that I noticed when I was testing out some of the slightly faster gyro drivers. Not like all the way up to 12, 13, 14. I'm talking like 9-speed control drivers. Is that the weight on those is extremely precise. The speed that you can throw up to is extremely precise, and if you go just a tiny bit over that, it's way more understable. Because for me, once I get up to a certain RPM, I don't really have space I can go past that. So if I manage to throw my arm faster than I'm spinning the disc, it operates way more understable. So it's a very fine line with like 9 speeds, like the Insanity, the Wrath, the Tesla, those like 9 speeds, the Virus, things like that. Those are very, very precise. They're either exactly what you want, extremely overstable, or way more understable than you gave them credit for. So it's a very tight, tough line. I'm not finding that as much with the gyro mid-ranges, but it's more with like the control driver zones, control driver areas. So working on down tempoing and it being able to hit very precise style throw speeds is going to help when I need to throw those discs at very precise speeds. Caught some stability a little earlier than I wanted, so we'll flex the method a little bit. Oh, that was too much flex. So I think I have the right distance with the hex. If I'm gonna throw at that angle, I need to throw it further to the right because that is a pretty stable hex. Not quite as stable as the method, but that's a pretty straight method. All of this to say, I'm still working on down tempoing and trying so hard to be able to hit very precise points and angles. And as you saw in this hole, I'm still not there. I wish I was better at disc golf. I really do. But sometimes you find skills where for years and years and years, I didn't down tempo a mid-range or a driver. I just threw a slower disc harder. So for years, you work up your speed, you work up that power, and then it starts to bite back on you because you haven't spent the time working on the actual control shots. So you can throw really far, you can do really cool stuff, but you're still not going to be as good of a disc golfer because you don't have the control that's necessary for those shots. All right, we're going to try to put it as close to the right mando pole or the right metal pole, not the one with the arrow on it, the one to the right of that. We're going to try to put it as close as we can to that pole while down tempoing on these mid ranges. Like I said, I wish I was better. Biggest thing that I'm taking away from today that I'm going to be working on for myself is making sure that I'm following through and I'm not bringing my head up so that I can hit the shot all the way through before I look at where I'm going. So let's work on that right here. A little bit on the low side, but that was the right line with the method to flex over to it. Well, I parked the short pin, which doesn't have a basket in it right now, but it's fine. So I think I'm better powering down on a flex shot. It's also a takeaway from that. The comfortability of throwing flex shots from a young age versus hyzer shots from a young age is definitely there. It's not as prevalent as it used to be, but it's still definitely there. So I need to definitely work on following through on those precise shot shapes from the hyzer release to get the shot I want. Hopefully this was helpful and you guys enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber only giveaways. And if you want to be automatically entered into monthly giveaways, go ahead and check out the memberships as well. Until next time, see you out on the course.